Lying defeated amidst the rubble, the demon lord reluctantly admitted Max had vanquished him, but he issued a veiled warning that demons possess 7 lives, implying this victory was far from over. Facing the malevolent entity, the black-haired warrior resolutely declared he would return, while the multi-eyed monster laughed maniacally, vowing to resurrect and seek retribution when the time was right. The demon lord roared with delight as her rebirth was complete, while her assistant applauded and declared that Max's final moment had at last arrived. Returning to the castle, the master was warmly greeted by her demon secretary, but the atmosphere grew somber when Zenia revealed that the others had yet to awaken since the battle 10 years prior. The petite master grumbled about the sleepyheads before noticing the growth of the demon maid, who was respectfully reminding her that it was time to change her attire. The master angrily scolded Zenia for bringing the wrong robe, but Zenia, flustered, insisted it was the very one she had worn 10 years ago, subtly pointing out her change in size. Zenia kindly explained that 10 years of rest hadn't been enough for her body to fully develop, but she reassured the disheartened master that she had prepared for this situation. The demon lord was furious at being made to wear a sailor outfit like a doll, while Zenia calmly explained it was current human fashion, leaving the demon lord perplexed by her ruffled dress. While trying on clothes, the demon lord bluntly criticized every outfit as ridiculous, causing Zenia to lose all patience and become enraged by the attitude. The demon lord inquired about the hero Max's situation, and after Zenia appeared bewildered, she had to remind her and check if the information-gathering mission was being carried out. The demon lord smugly speculated that his vanquisher must have become powerful within the royal family, but then appeared hesitant and uncertain about that information. Observing the warrior meditating deep in the forest, the group of demons admiringly concluded that he had severed all worldly ties to devote himself to training, not resting on his laurels. Despite her secretaries advising her to focus on official duties instead of the hero, the demon lord couldn't hide her extreme excitement at the prospect of seeing him again. Zenia tried to reassure her that the hero was merely a mortal human who would age and pass away, but the demon lord remained suspicious and felt her subordinate was concealing an important truth. Suspecting something amiss, the fearful demon lord frantically shook Zenia, intensely interrogating her about whether the hero had perished from illness or been eliminated. Using her third eye, the demon lord located the hero near the human capital, causing her to sigh in relief, even though her companions were severely seasick. Ignoring the butler's desperate pleas about her responsibilities, the demon lord gleefully dragged him along, insisting she would just drop by to say hello and then return for dinner. Despite lying face down on the floor in helplessness, the demon lord vowed that she would make the hero experience despair and soon learn of her return. Despite Zenia's attempts to stop her, the demon lord angrily charged forward, roaring that she had woken up early for this and wouldn't let anyone stand in her way. The demon lord laughed maniacally as she charged into the attack, ignoring the frantic screams of the servants trying to prevent her from harming their master. The assistants could only watch in helplessness and remorse as their master raced off with unstoppable enthusiasm. Soaring through the modern city sky, the demon lord gleefully observed human architecture and laughed upon realizing it had been a long time since she had last seen them. Standing before the target building, the demon lord smirked proudly, declaring her revival, eagerly awaiting Max's reaction upon seeing her return. In the dark room, the black-haired young man lay on the bed with a haggard and exhausted expression, while the demon lord sat beside him, clutching his hand anxiously. The demon lord was stunned upon entering the room, which was filled with trash, where the supposed hero lay languishing amidst the chaos, completely different from what she had imagined. In the fateful confrontation, the demon lord unleashed a devastating punch, but the knight timely activated a protective shield, blocking the terrifying assault. As the enemy mocked his comrades, Leo charged like a whirlwind, delivering a decisive blow that defeated the enemy soldier, averting the danger in time. Empowered by his comrades' cheers, the black-haired protagonist focused energy into his blade, shouted loudly, and charged into battle with blazing fervor. At the office, Zenia paused her work and looked up, signaling an impending fateful encounter. The man woke up with a tired expression and asked the identity of the strange girl standing by the bed, leaving the demon lord to stare back at him with extreme bewilderment. When the little girl asked for Max, the disheveled young man on the bed casually admitted it, making her astonished and ask again if he was a demon upon seeing his peculiar appearance. The demon lord shouted in outrage upon seeing the legendary holy sword discarded amidst the trash, but Max indifferently told her to sit down. Max complained about his aching back and old age, while the young hero and the large demon mercilessly mocked his pathetic decline and double chin. The demon lord pinched her nose and grumbled about the messy and smelly room, claiming it reflected a chaotic mind, but the black-haired young man merely wearily dismissed it. Max shouted in alarm to stop her when the demon lord curiously picked up used tissues and playfully fiddled with a strange elastic object she found. The demon lord delightedly explored the laptop and proudly declared that humans couldn't compare to demons, making Max irritably ask her true purpose for being there. Max cleared his throat loudly to interrupt the demon lord's train of thought, forcing her to refocus on the story. The demon queen grandly declared she would conquer the world, but her only reply was the bewildered expression of the black-haired hero, making her sarcastically remark that peace had rendered him useless. The demon lord was utterly disappointed when Max showed no spirit whatsoever before his sworn enemy. He even indifferently admitted he was experiencing depression and no longer cared about anything. Sprawled on the bed, Max bitterly shared that in a world of peace, heroes were no longer welcomed, and asked the little girl if she wanted to know the truth. Hearing Max recount his exile by humanity, the demon lord suddenly became excited, sprang up, and searched for his name online to see what remained of his heroic legacy. The search results revealed a series of shocking controversies, leaving the demon lord stunned, while Max frantically denied them and yelled for him to stop searching immediately. Max desperately tried to explain being deceived about his age, but the image of him sweating profusely at an infamous press conference only made his companion look at him with a judgmental gaze. Max continued to yell in outrage, asserting that the public assault accusations were completely fabricated and that they had set him up to pin all the blame on him. When Max complained about being attacked by 6 thugs, the demon lord sarcastically remarked that it was pathetic for someone who had escaped an army of the undead to be defeated by a few drunken individuals. The nightmare didn't stop there, as the demon lord excitedly found more information accusing hero Max of possessing prohibited substances, making the situation even worse. The demon lord angrily grabbed Max over his downfall, despite his protests that his test results were negative, while the demon lord coldly called him by the humiliating nickname Maxihuana. To rub salt in the wound, they replayed an old video of Max smugly boasting about his achievements, leaving the current Max to simply scream in shame and blame the internet lag. In the video, the young hero humbly declared that his victory over the demon lord was thanks to the help of his friends and the support of the entire world. On screen, the hero continued to speak passionately about finding a new role and mission to contribute to this peaceful world. The room filled with mocking laughter at Max's past arrogance, and despite his shouts to turn it off, the demon lord remarked that his excessive ego was precisely what led to his downfall. Seeing the carefully preserved photo of his former comrades, the demon lord remarked that Max cherished the memories of his friends more than his legendary sword. When Max wondered why she was still there, elsewhere, his former comrade admitted they had lost touch for many years, recalling memories of the young man once full of potential. The demon lord bluntly pointed out that Max's skepticism had pushed everyone away, and despite his protests, she insisted that people only stay when there's a benefit. Max coldly told the girl to leave, saying there was nothing left for her to find there, and the girl quietly accepted, turning and walking away with a sense of disappointment. The demon lord threatened to gather her army and annihilate weak humanity, but Max merely turned his back indifferently, telling her to destroy whatever she wanted. He didn't care. When the demon lord suggested eliminating his friends, Max unexpectedly agreed with enthusiasm, joking that if Leo were gone, he wouldn't have to pay his debts. Striking unexpectedly, Max grabbed the demon lord and slammed her to the ground with a brutal strike, making her scream in pain and anger. The demon lord tried to use her power but failed miserably, collapsing at Max's feet while he merely called her an idiot. Max questioned the demon lord about her ability to fight in that weak form, before suddenly realizing the situation might actually be different from his assumptions. Hiding in the closet to avoid being eliminated, the demon lord listened in confusion to Max's strange, satisfied sounds, peeking out with a curious eye. Max shouted in embarrassment and covered himself when the demon lord casually walked in while he was changing, but she only sighed in exasperation and left. As he poured tea, Max explained that he hadn't eliminated her because he was no longer a hero, and he didn't want to make headlines with a sensational story about eliminating a stray. Handing Max a coffee cup, the demon lord questioned the second cup in a single man's home, to which Max grumbled that it was just an old item. A silence enveloped the space as both sank into their own thoughts, neither speaking a word to the other. After a brief encounter, Max sighed in relief, admitting that the short battle had convinced him that she still possessed the qualities of a hero. Max remarked that her reflexes and techniques were still sharp, containing the flame of a hero's soul, which the demon lord silently accepted without argument. The demon lord eloquently challenged him to a duel to reclaim glory, but Max merely brushed it off, saying he had just woken up and the idea of attacking his old group was ridiculous. Turning his back on the world, Max bitterly admitted he was fed up with being a hero and accepted fate's retribution, refusing the girl's offer. The demon lord concluded that time would create a new hero if she continued to cause chaos, while her gaze rested on the packed luggage, accepting this harsh reality. The demon lord expressed gratitude for the hospitality as she prepared to leave, promising to meet again. The black-haired man waved goodbye, admitting that her presence was a pleasant change of pace for his life. Max sighed in relief, enjoying a rare moment of relaxation as he lay stretched out on his pillow. The sound of the door closing sealed the space, leaving him to sink into peace with a look of contentment. Max tiredly typed on his laptop, then stretched and yawned, deciding it was time for a bath to wash away the weariness. He exhaled, announcing his return after shedding the burden of work. The demon lord eagerly commandeered the kitchen to cook a stew, declaring that he wasn't eating properly. While the black-haired man was still bewildered and lamenting the money just spent, she happily set to work with surprising enthusiasm. Witnessing the demon lord casually shredding banknotes to learn about the human world, Max was so horrified he couldn't speak. The demon lord, while performing this bizarre act, remarked that his carelessness was unacceptable, making the atmosphere tense and perplexing. When the demon lord declared she would stay and care for him like a nanny, Max reacted with irritation and astonishment. Ignoring his protests, she casually ordered him to set the table, asserting her role as caregiver with determination. Max tasted the stew and reluctantly admitted it was quite good, which made the demon lord extremely pleased with her cooking skills. With a radiant smile, she revealed her plot to conquer the human world, starting with conquering his stomach first. The demon lord brought food, promising to provide more in the coming days, but suddenly paused when she heard a strange movement. From the shadows, the long-haired creature extended a sinewy hand, inviting her to eat with a terrifying smile, denying that it had just spoken. The demon lord angrily yelled, holding a cooking ladle, demanding to wake Max, who was drooling in deep sleep. Despite her shouting for him to wake up for breakfast and calling him lazy, he remained deeply immersed in his dreams. Seeing Max lying motionless, the demon lord frantically checked his breathing and then vigorously shook him awake out of worry. Suddenly, Max shot up, coughing violently, startling the young demon lord in fright, astonished by his intense reaction. While Max washes his face and announces he's going for a walk, the curious demon lord insists on following him. However, he flatly refuses with an annoyed expression, stating he doesn't want to be bothered by her right now. Max is embarrassed to be seen with a demon, demanding she hide her horns and third eye if she wants to go out. Hurt by his rude attitude, the demon lord angrily leaves, despite his attempts to stop and question her. Suspecting the man's mysterious actions, the demon lord speculates he might be secretly training for the upcoming battle. Unable to suppress her curiosity, she decides to follow him to find out what he truly does all day. Recalling the fearful gazes of humans in the supermarket yesterday, the demon lord realizes her appearance is causing trouble. Encouraged by the great demon king, she confidently decides to use transformation magic to disguise herself as a normal human. After discussing schoolgirl outfits, the demon lord uses her transformation magic and appears in a sailor uniform. Gazing at her new appearance in the mirror, the demon lord is extremely pleased and confident that she looks perfect. Perched precariously high above, observing the city, the demon lord reminds herself to be extremely cautious. She knows that even a slight lapse in concentration could break the magic maintaining her balance. Strolling through the bustling streets, the demon lord is overwhelmed by the rapid changes in the human world, with its skyscrapers and modern vehicles. She tells herself she must quickly adapt to this strange new environment. Drawn by the variety of street food, the demon lord excitedly orders tacos before her attention is caught by an arcade. When she innocently mistakes it for a movie theater, a curious boy unexpectedly speaks up, asking a question, which further bewilders her. While Max wearily shuffles down the street, the mysterious schoolgirl eats bread and secretly observes him from afar. Having finally identified her target, her eyes gleam with cunning, determined to uncover the hero's secret. The demon lord secretly watches Max enter a convenience store and emerge with an item in hand. The observer's gaze focuses on the mysterious glass jar. It seems to be the key to everything. Observing Max merely drinking water and aimlessly strolling, the demon lord cannot hide her disappointment. She sighs resignedly, forced to admit that he isn't training at all, contrary to her suspicions. Beneath the tranquil sky, the man smokes, letting his thoughts drift with the white smoke, a pensive expression on his face beside a jar of dried meat. The peaceful scene with two small birds on a branch seems to contrast with the deep emotions within him. Max sits alone on a park bench, a cigarette in his mouth, his face sorrowful and weary. From behind the dense bushes, the mysterious girl persistently watches his every move in silence. Just as she felt relieved, thinking someone still honored heroes, the demon lord was stunned to see Max sitting listlessly in the park. Disappointment was clear on her face as she realized his heroic spirit seemed to have completely faded with time. Eagerly invited by the children to play soccer, the adult man happily accepts, despite a doubtful question about whether he's intoxicated. Immediately, a clever schoolgirl sets up a 3-against-1 rule for fairness, and he enthusiastically accepts the challenge. The soccer game turns into a rough play session as Max doesn't hesitate to go all out with the kids. He even lifts a boy upside down amidst laughter, ignoring complaints that he's playing too roughly. Max enthusiastically recounts his demon-slaying exploits from 10 years ago to the wide-eyed children listening intently. Witnessing this from afar, the demon lord secretly thinks that at his age, he should have children of his own instead of just playing around like this. The fun is interrupted when Jasuk's mother appears, causing the boy to panic and leave. Max reluctantly bids farewell to the remaining children and quickly departs, leaving the park scene gradually deserted. The bowl-cut boy sheepishly admits that his mother forbade him from playing with Max, so he has to leave. Max calmly accepts this harsh truth, even turning to advise the remaining girl to obediently listen to her mother. After the short-haired girl waves goodbye, promising to pass on his regards to her mother, Max is left alone. He lies stretched out on the park bench, falling asleep beside a rolling empty can, exuding a heartbreaking sense of solitude. Seeing Max soundly asleep on the park bench, the demon queen couldn't help but worry, yet she told herself he needed to rest. She decided to head home to prepare dinner, though a slight unease lingered about leaving him there. Unable to maintain his composure, Max loudly yelled at an elderly man, driving him away. He angrily called the man a nuisance, his fierce demeanor suggesting he wanted to sever all ties immediately. Max's sleep was rudely interrupted by a group of noisy thugs. They surrounded the bench, waking him with insolent remarks and ganging up to mock him as a pathetic old fool. Grabbed by the collar and pulled up by a thug, Max maintained a strangely calm expression as he asked what they wanted. Beside them, the man in the hat sneered contemptuously, mocking him as a deranged wanderer, all under the furtive gaze of the long-haired girl. The curly-haired aggressor landed a powerful punch to Max's face while loudly lecturing about punishing wanderers. Witnessing the violent scene, the Demon Queen stood rooted to the spot in utter horror. The Demon Queen was stunned to read news reports accusing Hero Max of assaulting people in public. Meanwhile, Max indignantly explained that he had only defended himself when 6 thugs surrounded him, but ironically, all the blame fell on him. Backed into a corner by cowardly taunts, Max endured an intense internal struggle, his hands clenched, suppressing his anger. In that tense moment, the girl's voice rang out urgently, pleading with him to stop before things went too far. The bully scoffed arrogantly, boastfully declaring his superior status and mocking Max as a deluded hero. He sent the young man home with insulting remarks about his masculinity, leaving him frozen, sweating from fear and humiliation. As the male student lay on the ground, enduring brutal kicks, the bullies continued to curse and mercilessly trample on him. Observing this cruelty from afar, the mysterious girl's eyes glowed with anger and an iron resolve. Seeing the light-haired man lying motionless, Max gave him a light kick to check. He exclaimed in surprise upon realizing an unexpected reaction from the prone body. After casting a sleep spell to take down the thugs, the Demon Queen complained that they didn't even have weapons. Max then casually spoke up, admitting that he had only pretended to endure the assault because he knew she was watching from afar. On the way back, Max sadly confessed to the girl that he was no longer a hero, just a drunkard who liked to boast about his past to children. He bowed his head in apology, fearing that this stark truth had disappointed her. When Max blamed himself for being cowardly for not fighting back, the Demon Queen resolutely rejected that negative thought. She looked at him with admiration, asserting that his ability to remain calm and choose a non-violent approach was proof of his true kindness and strength. The Demon Queen gleefully mimicked the thug's arrogant remarks from earlier, praising his performance of endurance as very convincing. Meanwhile, the young man, carrying the groceries and running at full speed, could only grumble irritably under his breath, annoyed by her incessant teasing. Although the Demon Queen excitedly mentioned dinner, Max was still busy calculating the menu and what needed to be bought. He told her to go on ahead because he needed to stop somewhere, but promised he'd be home in time to cook. Faced with the Demon Queen's curiosity, the man was evasive, prompting her to reluctantly give him permission to do as he pleased. However, when asked about dinner, he immediately enthusiastically suggested ground beef for hamburgers, revealing his simple culinary preferences. Standing in the supermarket, the Demon Queen weighed her options between potatoes and beans, all the while unable to stop worrying about the man. She secretly hoped he wouldn't indulge in excessive drinking while she was busy preparing ingredients for dinner. In a bustling entertainment district with all sorts of inviting signs, Max climbed the stairs of the arcade. He turned back gruffly, challenging the gaze of the bespectacled man observing from below. The Demon Queen happily hummed on her way home, gleefully thinking of mapo tofu and fried rice that would delight him. From the balcony, the man looked down, puzzled, wondering who the strange girl in the peculiar outfit really was. Leaning against the balcony railing with a can of beer in hand, Max let his thoughts drift into the quiet space. He softly uttered the announcement, "I'm home," out of habit, though no one around replied. Upon returning home, the Demon Lord was told by Max about a very revealingly dressed girl he had just seen. Hearing this, the Demon Lord, who was sitting at the table, became enraged, slamming the table and criticizing humanity for becoming too rude and indecent. The sumptuous dinner was finally served, featuring a plate of golden shrimp fried rice and a steaming hot bowl of spicy tofu. An inviting call rang out, promising a delicious meal after a long day. While Max was still overwhelmed by the enormous amount of food, the doorbell unexpectedly rang, interrupting dinner. The three-eyed Demon Lord immediately stood up to check, not forgetting to warn him strictly not to sneak any food while she was gone. As soon as the Demon Lord butler appeared, she was fiercely scolded by Lady Zenia for not waiting at the castle as ordered. She awkwardly explained that she was just worried because her master hadn't returned yet, while the young man standing beside them merely watched this noisy reunion in bewilderment. The demon Lord Butler devoured the food ravenously as if starved for days, getting food smeared all over her face. The demon lord and everyone around could only stare in astonishment at her monstrous appetite and the speed at which she cleaned out the table. After clearing everything off the table, the demon Lord Butler rubbed her stomach contentedly and praised the demon lord's cooking skills as worthy of a demon king. Though a bit speechless at such gluttony, he assured her he would find more food for her later. Seeing the demon lord grumbling on the phone, asserting loyalty, Max curiously turned to ask for the identity. The demon lord casually introduced her as his personal secretary, ignoring the commotion she was causing. The demon Lord Butler seriously reported that she had walked tirelessly for 3 days and 3 nights to arrive here and meet her master. That honest answer made the listeners question whether she was completely clueless about how to use modern transportation. The demon Lord Butler indignantly recounted being pointed at and ridiculed by humans all along the way, believing they were prejudiced against demonkind. The demon lord wearily looked at her revealing outfit, secretly thinking that the real reason lay in her peculiar attire, not any prejudice. The short-haired demoness insisted on taking everyone back to the castle, while the demon Lord Butler uttered an insult, saying that being near a hero would rot one's brain. Insulted in his own home after offering kind hospitality, Max couldn't hide his anger at the ungrateful attitude of these uninvited guests. The demon lord tried to justify staying to study the human world, but was immediately exposed by Zenia for secretly harboring feelings for that pathetic hero. Having her true feelings revealed, the demon lord reacted violently out of embarrassment, while the other party calmly used philosophy to mask her true feelings. The demon lord angrily yelled at Max, asserting that he would be useless without her protection. Meanwhile, witnessing her master lying around listlessly, the new guest offered that he wouldn't mind if they took him home immediately. With a sharp, cold gaze behind her glasses, the girl drew out a sharp, claw-shaped weapon. She coldly declared she would personally put an end to this foolish obsession once and for all. Instead of using magic as expected, the horned demon Lord Butler took a stance with a pair of iron fists, leaving observers astonished. It turned out she had absolutely no talent for magic, and her frustration was evident on her face when this weakness was scrutinized. Unable to be patient any longer, Zenia aggressively charged forward to challenge, despite everyone's pleas. The demon lord wearily warned that she wouldn't be able to defeat her opponent, but Zenia had let her anger cloud her judgment. In a sudden turn of events, the demon Lord Butler grabbed the bearded man's hair tightly and swung her fist, preparing to strike. The poor guy was still holding a spoon, completely unable to react to this sudden aggression. Attacked, but Max dodged, and the demon Lord Butler stumbled and fell. It seemed she hadn't trained much, which explained it. The demon lord loudly scolded Max for scaring Zenia half to death, reminding him that she was still just a young girl. After Max admitted he had gone a bit too far, the demon lord forced the embarrassed girl to apologize to him, making the atmosphere very awkward. After the rigorous training, Zenia was so exhausted she could only gasp for breath and apologize. Though utterly fatigued and showing annoyance at the children's teasing, she still earned unspoken respect for her formidable strength. Zenia appeared drenched in sweat after a long journey, so tired she just wanted to collapse. When suggested she take a shower before she could rejoice, the angry shouts of the man in the house rang out, protesting the unilateral decision without consulting him. Max indignantly complained to the three-eyed girl about the woman's devastating punch, comparing it to the strength of 30 thugs, while frantic apologies for the recent disaster echoed from the bathroom. The girl finished her bath and came out completely unclothed. It seemed she was already accustomed to this. Zenia emerged wrapped in a towel, expressing deep gratitude to the man for providing shelter, which made him sigh wearily and tell her to make herself at home. Just then, another demon lord unexpectedly appeared, demanding rights. Hearing Max complain of hunger, the demon lord offered to warm up some food for him, but as soon as he agreed, he was suddenly utterly stunned by something about to happen. while the three-eyed demon lord sternly reminded Zenia to be mindful as a guest. On the other side, Max desperately knelt, pleading with the mysterious woman not to leave and to take him with her. Max was in a very awkward situation as Zenia casually stood right next to him, drinking soda with only a towel wrapped around her. Zenia directly questioned Max about his notorious past of promiscuity, and though he assured her he wouldn't overstep, he coldly reminded her that her master was the one who actively sought him out. Zenia angrily warned Max that he would pay a heavy price if he dared to deceive that person, causing him to break out in a cold sweat because he had no idea what she was implying. The horned Zenia aggressively grabbed Max, boastfully declaring that if her master hadn't been supervising, she would have torn him apart in the recent battle, ignoring his helpless demeanor. Zenia angrily gripped Max's face, growling as she questioned if he was listening and doubting his heroic credentials, which utterly terrified him. Seeing Max about to drink a can of alcoholic beverage, Zenia rushed to stop him and sternly warned him not to drink it if he couldn't control himself. Zenia accidentally drank the cocktail, mistaking it for soda despite Max's attempts to stop her, leading to a chaotic altercation that caused everything to spiral out of control. The two fell, and unfortunately, the demon lord landed on Zenia. After the collision caused Zenia to fall painfully and spill tea, Max frantically pleaded not to be sued, while the girl glared at him with fury. When Max tried to invite Zenia, who had just bathed, to drink tea and get dressed, she coldly replied with a menacing curse. In a fit of rage, Zenia forcefully splashed liquid at Max, making her duck to avoid it, horrifying the surrounding witnesses. Before Max could even collect himself, Zenia delivered a lightning-fast kick that sent him flying, leaving him only able to exclaim in astonishment at her extraordinary speed. Seeing Max frantically looking out the window, he realized the danger and asserted that the individual was about to demolish the entire place. Immediately after a figure plunged from the balcony, Zenia was utterly terrified to see a colossal shadowy entity loom into view and approach her closely. With the pursuer flying close behind, Max dashed frantically through the rubble, desperately yelling at her to stop and put on some clothes. The appearance of the unclothed girl in broad daylight caused chaos in the neighborhood. Children had their eyes covered while adults were stunned, and one muscular young man cried out loudly upon recognizing her. While the Demon King noticed the commotion outside, Max was struggling to escape in the dark with injuries, closely followed by a menacing Zenia. Zenia was ready in a fighting stance. Max didn't want to fight at all, but at this moment, he stopped and prepared to confront her. Facing Zenia, Max declared that it was time for him to get serious and display the true power of a hero. The police arrived and stopped Zenia, who was unclothed, leaving her bewildered and confused while those around them stared in astonishment. Zenia was in extreme panic when the police stopped her in the middle of the night for running unclothed in the streets, facing the stern gaze of the authorities. While Zenia cried out as she was handcuffed, Max, flustered, tried to explain to the police the unfortunate predicament and why she was carrying a weapon to attack him. Max stepped forward to take responsibility, explaining that the girl with glasses was with him and that he had gotten her intoxicated, while the police proceeded to check the alcohol level of the unconscious person. After confirming it was just a case of intoxication and no harm was done, the police decided not to pursue the matter, and also offered to take everyone to a nearby apartment. The van sped away into the night carrying Zenia, who was gazing intently out the window, while the other passengers showed clear signs of worry at the announcement to clear the road. Sitting in the car, Zenia shyly bowed her head and apologized for the trouble she had caused, but Max just wearily waved his hand, saying everything was fine. When he heard the man in uniform praise the heroic deed 10 years ago that brought peace to the world, Max just sadly bowed his head, admitting he had now become useless. The Demon King knelt and apologized for the disrespect of the previous night, but was stunned by Max when he praised the extraordinary fighting power of the intoxicated secretary, saying she was even stronger than the Demon King. Max sat absent-mindedly at the dining table with negative thoughts about being forgotten, while the Demon King, washing dishes, anxiously tried to strike up a conversation to pull him out of his melancholy. Zenia had just woken up and realized the other girl had left early in the morning, when suddenly the doorbell rang, catching both his and the Demon King's attention. Zenia unexpectedly appeared at the door, introducing herself as the new neighbor, leaving Max, who was sprawled on the floor, confusedly thinking he had ordered some delivery. Hearing Zenia confirm she had moved into the apartment right next door, Max was so shocked he couldn't utter a word, but then reluctantly accepted due to his responsibility to his master. Zenia boldly declared her intention to turn the apartment into a base for invading and monitoring humanity, causing Max to slump onto the table in exasperation at the demon's overenthusiasm. The man watched intently a chaotic video of a female demon on the computer screen with great interest, even as his assistant brought him new construction plans. Zenia respectfully presented the requested item, and the Demon King praised him with satisfaction for excellently completing the assigned task. The Demon Lord smirked triumphantly, holding a photo album of beautiful ladies, believing this treasure would help him take a significant step forward in his plan to conquer humanity. The Demon Lord gleefully appeared like a messenger of good news, grandly presenting his collection of beautiful ladies' photo album. While Max frowned in confusion at the bizarre photo album, the Demon Lord cheerfully offered help, and the mysterious black-haired demoness taunted him about his loneliness. Questioned by a mysterious voice from the shadows about his loneliness and having a girlfriend, Max just frowned and brushed it off, asserting that he didn't need such troubles. The Demon Lord excitedly showed off a collection of beautiful female warriors compiled by Zenia, but Max indifferently asked what it had to do with him, making the young girl criticize him for being too naive. Max was so shocked he broke out in a cold sweat when the Demon Lord casually suggested he pick someone he liked from the book, and she would play matchmaker for him. Despite the white-haired demoness reassuring him about the immortality of demons, Max was still concerned that his past of eliminating his own kind would make dating a demoness a disaster. The Demon Lord enthusiastically urged Max to look through the impressive young women in the book, but was met only with his skeptical and reluctant gaze. Max was utterly astonished when the little imp revealed that the seemingly indifferent Demon Lord actually had bold pictures and was not as unconcerned as she appeared. Lying alone in thought, Zenia couldn't help but wonder if the people in the photos had willingly posed and understood the true purpose of those pictures. Max hesitated about the candidate in the swimsuit because she had once been drunk and threatened to harm him, but the Demon Lord still strongly defended her, claiming it was just her way of getting attention. Max yelled furiously during the argument about Rebecca, vehemently protesting the insulting way she was referred to for this muscular female commander of the Beast Army. While Max and the Demon Lord were fiercely arguing about whether Rebecca was an orc or a pig, the story's protagonist calmly sat eating pizza and posing as if nothing was happening. Despite the Demon Lord's endless praise for Rebecca's femininity and armor-forging skills, the young man still shook his head in exasperation, firmly asserting that this muscular woman was definitely not his type. No sooner had the Demon Lord finished teasing than Max had to turn his head, stunned and deeply impressed by the confident beauty of the tanned blonde girl. The alluring snake warrior lay stretched out, confidently showing off her magical talents and relaxed demeanor, making Max just hum in acknowledgement, listening with a thoughtful expression. Hearing the mascot excitedly talk about the Lamia beauty's love for wrestling and using her tail to constrict, Max flopped onto the floor, lamenting, wondering why he couldn't meet a normal human girl. Looking at the human sports photos presented, the protagonist felt bewildered, unsure how to feel, even though the person opposite tried to suggest empathy for those activities. Max firmly refused the bizarre outfits and requested a human model, but when the Demon Lord showed a picture of a skeleton maid, he rejected it again, making her furious at his unreasonable pickiness. The Demon Lord enthusiastically introduced a long list of female demon commanders and offered to arrange dates, but Max only seemed tired and overwhelmed by too many strange options. Holding the Encyclopedia of Demons, Max shuddered, recalling his terrifying experiences with dragons and squids, and firmly asserted to the Demon Lord that he didn't like any of them. Pressed by his friends about his ideal type, Max listed the most basic human standards and immediately dismissed the suggestion of a girl who could detach her head. While Max was dreamily listing a series of perfect standards for his future wife, the cat-eared Demon Lord standing beside him coldly doused his enthusiasm, saying he was asking for too much. Despite Max wanting peace and quiet and his concerns about the monstrous forms of the candidates, the demon lord suddenly shouted a transformation spell, startling him in surprise. The demon lord appeared radiant in a bold, midriff-bearing sailor uniform, happily spinning around to greet, causing the bearded man to freeze in surprise. The demon lord confidently showed off her figure and smooth hair in a new street outfit, making the young man exclaim that it suspiciously matched his ideal type. After proudly recounting her domestic skills and virtues, the demon lord suddenly sagged due to her enemy status, then rekindled the idea of compromise to unite the two species. The demon lord turned her back to look out the window, uttering a cryptic remark that caused the man sitting on the floor to follow her with a bewildered look. In that moment of confrontation, the space seemed to freeze as both stared wide-eyed at each other, faces flushed and sweating from the intense, unspoken tension. The sudden doorbell startled everyone, and when the demon lord rushed to open the door, a professional secretary appeared, handing important documents to the demon lord, who thanked her in confusion. Seeing the demon lord's flushed face, Zenia worriedly asked if she was ill, causing the demon lord to frantically deny it, while the spiky-haired man sitting next to her showed clear annoyance. Despite the enthusiastic dinner invitation from the horned man, Zenia, though a bit hesitant, finally accepted and enjoyed her bowl of noodles heartily. The black-haired young man wondered why the two girls ate so little, but in reality, both the demon lord and Zenia were happily focused on enjoying their meal. While the demon lord was advised to eat more to regain strength, she enthusiastically asked for more food, making Max complain about her astonishing appetite.